Muscle cars, machines that roar with the spirit of raw power and American ingenuity. Among these legends lies a rare gem that often gets overshadowed by its famous siblings. While many classic muscle cars were produced in large quantities and remain relatively accessible today, others were manufactured in very limited numbers, making them not only rare but also extremely valuable. In today's video, we'll be going through the rarest muscle cars ever created. Number 20, 1969 Mercury Cougar Eliminator. In 1969, the muscle car wars were in full swing. While Ford's Mustang grabbed headlines, Mercury introduced the Cougar Eliminator, a muscle car with ferocity and flair. The Eliminator was Mercury's declaration of independence from its Ford sibling. The Cougar had already made waves as Mercury's luxurious and refined answer to the Mustang. By 1969, Mercury decided to unleash the Cougar's full potential with the Eliminator, a performance-tuned predator for the street and track. Visually striking, the Eliminator featured bold side stripes, an aerodynamic spoiler, and an aggressive grille. Bright yellows and oranges ensured it stood out among flashy muscle cars. Under the hood, the Eliminator packed serious muscle. Buyers could choose from several V8 options, including the formidable 428 Cobra jet, boasting 335 horsepower, though many suspected more. The Eliminator lived up to its name and performance. Mercury aimed to prove it could compete with the best, and the Eliminator did just that. Whether cornering or dominating drag strips, its refined suspension ensured precision handling. Today, the 1969 Cougar Eliminator is rare. Built in limited numbers, it remains a symbol of Mercury's brief but brilliant foray into muscle cars. Collectors cherish its unique blend of luxury, performance, and bold styling, making it a standout among legends of its time. Number 19. The 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. In 1970, Detroit was in a horsepower arms race, with Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Chrysler vying for the title of King of the Streets. Then Buick, known more for luxury than muscle, unleashed the 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1, nicknamed the Hemi Killer. That year, GM lifted its engine displacement restriction for mid-size cars, and Buick introduced the 455 V8, 7.5 liters, delivering 510 lb-ft of torque. The GSX Stage 1 package turned this muscle car into a statement of intent. The GSX demanded attention with its Saturn yellow or Apollo white paint, aerodynamic rear spoiler, and hood-mounted tachometer. Buick's 455 V8, enhanced with a hotter cam, higher compression ratio, and advanced valve train engineering, produced 360 horsepower, though many believed it was closer to 400. The GSX clocked a quarter-mile time of 13.38 seconds at 105.5 miles per hour. Buick noted to NASA's Saturn V rockets with the GSX's paint options, symbolizing its readiness to leave competitors behind. Collectors like Dennis Durge keep the GSX legend alive. Dennis's fully restored GSX is one of only 400 Stage 1 variants produced, and its turbo-hydromatic transmission delivers jaw-dropping acceleration. With only 678 GSXs made in 1970 and fewer than 250 known to exist today, the remaining cars are living legends. Number 18. The 1963 Pontiac Catalina convertible Tri-Power. If you haven't heard about this Pontiac, well, we don't blame you. We haven't either. The 389 Trophy V8, dubbed Tri-Power, was known for its triple two-barrel carburetors. This naturally aspirated powerhouse delivered an impressive 313 horsepower and a jaw-dropping 430 lb-ft of torque. Paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, the Catalina could rocket from 0 to 60 in just 6.5 seconds, remarkable for a full-size convertible weighing over 4,000 pounds. Remember, this car was made in 1963, making it as fast as a cheetah. But it wasn't just about speed. Inside, the Catalina offered a refined driving experience. Its spacious cabin and premium finishes made it the ideal companion for long road trips, with room for passengers to enjoy the open road in comfort. It was part of Pontiac's 7th-generation full-size lineup. The Catalina convertible reflected the design ethos of its time, long, flowing lines with just the right touch of chrome. It was bold but never excessive, standing apart from the more ostentatious designs of its competitors. The rear-wheel drive setup, combined with the precise 4-speed manual, made the Catalina as exhilarating to drive as it was beautiful to look at. Produced for just one model year, the 1963 Pontiac Catalina convertible remains a rare find today. Collectors prize its combination of luxury, performance, and undeniable charm, a true symbol of Pontiac's ambition to create cars that could do it all. Number 17, 1969. Ford Mustang Boss 429. In 1969, the muscle car wars extended to the racetrack, and Ford aimed to dominate NASCAR with the Boss 429 Mustang. This car was created to homologate a powerful engine for NASCAR's high-speed ovals. The Boss 429 housed Ford's new semi-hemispherical 429 V8, designed to challenge Chrysler's 426 Hemi. To legalize it for NASCAR, Ford produced at least 500 cars for the public, leading to the Boss 429's creation. The engine featured aluminum heads, a dry deck cooling system, a 735 CFM Holley carburetor, and an oil cooler. Rated at 375 horsepower, its real output was rumored to be much higher. Since the Mustang's engine bay wasn't wide enough for the 429, Ford enlisted Carcraft to modify Cobra Jet Mustangs. Changes included a reworked front apron, relocated battery, and a manually controlled hood scoop. Despite its massive engine, the Boss 429 offered more than straight-line speed. It was the first Mustang with a rear sway bar, improving handling. Along with its traction-lock differential and better weight distribution, it handled curves with agility. Ford built only 1,359 Boss 429 Mustangs between 1969 and 1970, making them rare. Each car was hand-assembled at Carcraft, featuring an 8,000 revolutions per minute tachometer, AM-only radio, and distinctive Boss decals. Although Ford's NASCAR plans for the Mustang were scrapped, the Boss 429 engine lived on in other platforms in pro-stock drag racing in the 1980s. Number 16, 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. In 1969, Dodge sought dominance in NASCAR with the Charger Daytona, a car designed to shatter speed records. After the Charger 500 underperformed in losing Richard Petty to Ford, Dodge turned to Chrysler's missile engineers to create a revolutionary car. The Daytona was engineered to cheat the win, featuring a towering rear wing for stability and an extended nose cone for aerodynamics. Built on the Charger RT platform, it came with a 440 Magnum V8 as standard, but the optional 426 Hemi V8, available in just 70 of the 503 cars, made it a legend. On March 24, 1970, Buddy Baker drove the Daytona to become the first NASCAR driver to surpass 200 miles per hour. With victories like the Talladega 500, the Daytona secured 6 wins, cementing its legacy. The Daytona's performance led NASCAR to ban era cars with engines larger than 305 cubic inches after the 1970 season. Despite its brief competition run, the Daytona remains highly valuable, with 426 Hemi versions commanding prices over $3 million. Of the 503 Daytonas built, only a fraction remain, testifying to Dodge's engineering boldness. From its record-breaking track days to its collector status, the Dodge Charger Daytona is an icon of American muscle. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona was more than a car. It was a revolution, proving no challenge was too great. Though banned from NASCAR, its legend endures. Number 15, 1970 Plymouth Superbird. Cartoons and cars don't often collide, but in 1970, Plymouth broke all the rules. Meet the Plymouth Superbird, a muscle car inspired by speed, aerodynamics, and a certain feathered cartoon character. With its signature beep-beep horn and record-breaking performance, this car wasn't just built to turn heads, it was built to win races. The Superbird wasn't Plymouth's first shot at NASCAR glory. That honor belonged to its cousin, the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. But with lessons learned from the Daytona season and a mission to lure NASCAR legend Richard Petty back to Plymouth, the Superbird became the ultimate evolution of the era car. This wasn't your average Plymouth Roadrunner. The Superbird featured a wind-cheating nose cone and a rear wing so tall it rose above the car's roofline, engineered to maximize stability at high speeds. And while its rivals, the Ford Torino Talladega and Mercury Cyclone, could hold their own, The Superbird's looks and performance set it apart. Under the hood, the Superbird could be equipped with the legendary 426 Hemi engine. With 425 horsepower and a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 5.5 seconds, this car wasn't just fast, it was blisteringly quick. Its roar on the track was as distinctive as its beep-beep off it. The Superbird wasn't just a gimmick, it was a winner. It carried Plymouth's banner proudly on the NASCAR circuit, taking on its rivals with style, speed, and innovation. Richard Petty returned to the team, cementing the Superbird's place in racing history. Though its production was short-lived, limited to just 1970, the Superbird left a lasting legacy. Today, it's a collector's dream, celebrated for its outrageous design, connection to American pop culture, and its role in one of the greatest eras of NASCAR history. The Plymouth Superbird wasn't just a car, it was a masterpiece of engineering and imagination. A car that could win races and hearts in equal measure, while reminding everyone not to take life too seriously. Beep, beep, indeed. Number 14, 1967, Dodge Cornet RT 426. Hemi hardtop. The Coronet had already made waves with its Hemi-powered variants in 1965 and 1966. Fast forward a couple of years, and the Super B emerges in 1968, destined to be an icon. But in the middle of this timeline sits the 1967 Cornet RT, standing tall as a bridge between two legends. This wasn't just another trim. The Cornet RT, or Road and Track, wasn't for the casual driver. It was Dodge's way of telling the world, we mean business. Unlike the base Cornet 500, this RT model was an upgrade inside and out. Its defining features, RT badging, faux scoops on the hood, and a flat grille reminiscent of the Cornet 500, but with a distinctively aggressive edge. And then there was the heart of the beast, a 426 Hemi engine. Known as the Elephant Motor, it packed a thunderous punch that made it a favorite for drag racers. Imagine harnessing 425 horsepower in the 1960s. This car wasn't just about speed, it was a declaration of power. But here's the kicker. Fewer than 300 of these Hemi Cornet RT hardtops were ever made, and even that number splits between hardtops and convertibles. To call this car rare is an understatement. It's a unicorn in the muscle car world, sought after by collectors and enthusiasts alike. The 1967 Dodge Cornet RT wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It stood tall between eras, paving the way for legends while creating a legacy of its own. If you're lucky enough to spot one today, you're witnessing a piece of automotive history. So the next time you hear the rumble of a vintage Hemi, remember this understated champion, the 1967 Dodge Cornet RT. Because in the world of muscle cars, it's not just about speed, it's about the stories they leave behind. Number 13, 1993, Chevrolet Camaro Z28, Indy pace car, 645 units. Some cars are built to make history, others to celebrate it. The 1993 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, Indy pace car was a rolling tribute to a moment when racing glory and early 90s aesthetics collided. 1993 was a special year for the Camaro. It was chosen to pace the Indianapolis 500, and Chevrolet wanted to mark the occasion in unforgettable style. The result? A limited run of just 645 pace cars, each adorned with graphics that could only have come from the 90s. Let's be honest, the looks are polarizing, with bold ribbons exploding across its flanks and an interior that matches the exterior's boldness. This car is more of a time capsule than a timeless beauty. Whether you love it or not, it demands attention on and off the track. But don't let the loud paint distract you. Beneath that eye-catching exterior is the soul of a true muscle car. The 5.7-liter V8 churns out 275 horsepower and 325 lb-ft of torque. While the Indy Pace Car Edition didn't bring performance upgrades, the Z28's standard powertrain still offered plenty of thrills for any Camaro fan. Now, whether or not the Indy Pace Car's graphics are your style, the 1993 Camaro Z28 remains an affordable entry into the muscle car world. It's the kind of car that whispers to dreamers and roars for enthusiasts. And if you're lucky enough to drive one, you're holding on to more than just a steering wheel. You're gripping a piece of history. Number 12, 1967 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, 1967, an iconic year in muscle car history. Chevrolet introduced the Camaro to the world, selling over 220,000 units right out of the gate. But nestled among the masses was a rare race-ready version, a model that became the stuff of legends. Say hello to the 1967 Camaro Z28, a car built not just for the road, but for the racetrack. The Camaro wasn't just a muscle car, it was Chevrolet's answer to the Ford Mustang's dominance. And when the need for a homologation model became clear, Chevy stepped up with the Z28 package. Priced at just $358.10, it transformed the Camaro into a track warrior that could hold its own on the circuit. Under the hood, the Z28 was powered by a tuned 302 cubic inch V8, mated to a close ratio 4-speed transmission. Officially, it made 290 horsepower, though insiders believe the real figure was much higher. This wasn't just raw power, it was refined performance. Power disc brakes, upgraded suspension, and a high-performance radiator made sure the Z28 could handle the heat of battle, lap after lap. Chevrolet didn't just build a car, they crafted a legacy. Only 602 units of the 1967 Camaro Z28 were produced, making it one of the rarest and most desirable Camaros ever. Today, these cars command 6 figures, proof that legends never go out of style. Number 11. 1970 Chevrolet El Camino SS LS6. A truck, a car, or the perfect fusion of both. The Chevrolet El Camino started as a utilitarian coupe utility in 1959, but by 1970, it had transformed into something far more ferocious. And when buyers checked the LS6 box, they unleashed a beast that was as powerful as it was unique. The LS6 wasn't the most exotic engine around, but with 450 horsepower and 500 lb-ft of torque, it hit like a freight train. For the daring 500 or so buyers who chose this package, their El Camino became a true muscle car disguised as a utility vehicle. This wasn't just a truck, it was a track star. Imagine hauling lumber during the week and running a 13.44-second quarter mile on the weekend. With its 454 cubic inch V8, the El Camino LS6 made it possible. Today, these vehicles are a collector's dream. In good condition, they're worth around $69,100. But mint examples have fetched as much as $300,000 at auction. And as rumors swirl about the El Camino's potential electric comeback, we can only wonder if the future will ever match the raw, unapologetic power of the 1970 LS6. Number 10. 1966 Ford Fairlane 500R code. The 1966 Ford Fairlane 500R code, a rare and highly sought-after muscle car, was produced in a limited run of just 57 units. Originally introduced as a full-size model in 1955, the Fairlane was redesigned into a mid-size car in 1962, and by 1966, it had evolved into a formidable muscle car, eventually serving as the foundation for the Torino and Cobra lines. Although not as aggressive as the 1964 Thunderbolt, a factory drag car produced in 100 units, the Fairlane 500R code was equipped with a race-ready package. This included dual Holley carburetors, front disc brakes, a lift-off hood, and a radio delete. Powering this performance-oriented model was Ford's most potent engine at the time, the 7.0-liter Cobra V8, which generated an impressive 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. Originally priced at $4,500, approximately $43,548 when adjusted for inflation. The 1966 Ford Fairlane 500R code is now estimated to be worth around $275,000, reflecting its rarity and historical significance in the muscle car era. Number 9. 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11. The 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11, a legendary muscle car produced in a limited run of just 57 units, marks Chevrolet's entry into high-performance sedans during its third generation. Introduced under the regular production option, RPO Z11. This model was based on the Sport Coupe and was exclusively available as a 2-door hardtop. The Z11 featured significant engine upgrades, including a cowl induction air intake system, a 2-piece aluminum intake manifold, dual Carter AFB carburetors, and an enhanced compression ratio. While it resembled the standard Impala externally, The Z11 incorporated aluminum body parts and eliminated non-essential components like the radio, front sway bar, heater, and sound-deadening material to reduce weight. Powered by a 7.0-liter V8 engine, the Z11 was reported to deliver 430 horsepower and 575 pound-feet of torque, although official ratings were lower. Designed for drag racing enthusiasts, the Impala Z11 achieved remarkable performance, becoming the first production vehicle to reach 120 miles per hour in the quarter mile. Originally priced at $4,102, approximately $42,031 when adjusted for inflation. The 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11 is now estimated to be worth around $432,500, highlighting its rarity and significance in automotive history. With a 4-speed manual transmission, the Z11 could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.3 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 10.8 seconds, with a top speed of 124 miles per hour. Number 8, 1967, Dodge Coronet W23, Plymouth Belvedere RO23. In the 1960s, General Motors and Ford weren't the only Detroit car makers selling factory-prepped race cars. Mopar also joined the fray. In 1967, Mopar released a pair of road-legal dragsters, the Dodge Cornet W23 and the Plymouth Belvedere RO23. These cars were virtually identical, differing only in badges and minor details. To meet the NHRA's minimum requirements for drag strip homologation, Dodge and Plymouth each built 55 units. Both models featured batteries relocated to the trunk and were stripped of non-essential features like radios and heaters, with many also having rear seat deletes. Powered by Mopar's new 7.0-liter Hemi V8 engine, rated at 425 horsepower, these superstock category cars were designed for serious performance. The 1967 Dodge Cornet W23, in particular, showcased unique weight distribution strategies to enhance its racing capabilities. Unlike most cars which have heavier brakes in the front, the W23 featured light brakes in the front and heavy brakes in the rear. This unconventional setup kept extra weight over the rear contact patch of the race slicks, providing additional grip during takeoff. Originally priced at $4,700, approximately $44,122 when adjusted for inflation, the 1967 Dodge Cornet W23 is now estimated to be worth around $130,000. Equipped with a 4-speed manual transmission, the W23 could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.9 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds, and reach a top speed of 123 miles per hour, making it a formidable competitor on the drag strip. Number 7, 1970 to 1971, Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible. The car stands out due to its rare convertible layout, with only 21 examples produced over 2 years, 10 per year. This rarity makes it a serious contender for one of the rarest American muscle cars. The high production costs match that of other performance cars of the era, such as the Ford Mustang Boss 429 and Shelby GT 350. The 1970 model year saw a complete redesign of the Plymouth Barracuda, making it eligible for the powerful 426 Street Hemi and engine for the first time. This engine delivered 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, making the Hemi Cuda the quickest Mopar of the classic muscle car era. Originally priced at $4,400, approximately $35,556 when adjusted for inflation, the 1970 to 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible is now estimated to be worth around $3.5 million. With a 4-speed manual transmission, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 13.1 seconds, and reach a top speed of 117 miles per hour.
Number 6.
The 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle 454 SS LS6 is an exceptionally rare muscle car, with only 25 units produced. Introduced in 1970, the LS6 upgrade for the 7.4-liter V8 engine added a single 4-barrel Holley carburetor, boosting power to 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, although actual output was likely over 500 horsepower. The Chevelle was already a formidable muscle car in the late 1960s, but the LS6 package elevated its performance significantly. Originally priced at $4,200, approximately $33,940 when adjusted for inflation. The 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle 454 SS LS6 is now estimated to be worth around $660,000. Equipped with a 4-speed manual transmission, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.0 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 13.8 seconds, and reach a top speed of 134 miles per hour. Number 5. 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible. The 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible is another highly coveted and rare muscle car, with only 17 units produced. The GTO Judge was discontinued after 1971, and even the coupe version is relatively rare, with 340 examples produced. The Judge featured Pontiac's most powerful engine at the time, a 7.5-liter V8 rated at 335 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, part of the Mountain Performance package. Originally priced at $4,000, approximately $30,967 when adjusted for inflation, the 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge Convertible is now estimated to be worth around $440,000. With a 4-speed manual transmission, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.1 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 13.4 seconds, and reach a top speed of 125 miles per hour, despite its modest horsepower compared to other muscle cars of the era. Number 4. 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1. The 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1 is an exceedingly rare and highly coveted muscle car with only 3 units produced. Redesigned in 1968, the C3 Corvette featured a meaner look based on the Coke bottle shape design. The ZL1 option, introduced in 1969, replaced the L88 engine with an all-aluminum 7.0-liter V8 designed specifically for racing. This engine was rated at almost 500 horsepower, making the Corvette ZL1 the fastest production car of its time. The ZL1 package was expensive, costing around $4,700, which matched the price of a 1969 Corvette, and required additional mandatory options totaling around $550. As a result, only 3 cars were sold to the public. The Corvette ZL1 is considered the holy grail of Corvettes, and a 1969 model sold for $3.2 million in 2023, making it one of the most expensive American performance cars ever. Originally priced at $10,050, approximately $85,862 when adjusted for inflation, the ZL1 could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.0 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 12.1 seconds, and reach a top speed of 151 miles per hour. Number 3. 1967 Dodge Coronet RT 426 Hemi Convertible. The 1967 and 1970 Dodge Coronet RT 426 Hemi Convertible are extremely rare, with only 2 units produced per model year. Introduced in 1967, the RT package for the Coronet included the 7.0-liter Hemi V8 engine, but very few were made, with only 2 convertibles each year. The 1970 model featured an updated Hemi engine. These convertibles are highly sought after and rarely come up for sale, commanding prices in excess of $300,000 for the 1967 model and over $1 million for the 1970 model. The 1970 Dodge Coronet RT 426 Hemi could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.1 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 13.6 seconds, and reach a top speed of 137 miles per hour, making it a formidable performer for its time. Number 2. 1967 Shelby Cobra Super Snake. The 1967 Shelby Cobra Super Snake is one of the most iconic and rare American cars, with only 2 units produced. Carroll Shelby fitted the Super Snake with mufflers, a windshield, and bumpers to make it street legal, but it retained many race-spec components, including a pair of Paxton superchargers that boosted the 7.0-liter V8 engine to 800 horsepower. With a power-to-weight ratio similar to modern supercars, the Super Snake could reach 60 miles per hour in just over 3 seconds and had a top speed close to 200 miles per hour. One of the 2 cars was famously driven off a cliff, and the remaining Super Snake was auctioned for $5.5 million in 2021, setting a record for a vehicle made in the US at the time. The Super Snake could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds, complete the quarter mile in 12.4 seconds, and reach a top speed of 201 miles per hour. Number 1, 1967, Shelby Mustang GT 500 Super Snake. The 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500 Super Snake is an ultra-rare muscle car with only one unit produced. Built for Goodyear to promote a new line of tires, this special GT 500 featured a 7.0-liter V8 engine from the Ford GT40 Make-It race car, along with an upgraded transmission and rear end. Capable of reaching 170 miles per hour, the Super Snake was planned for a production run of 50 units, but the project was shelved due to high costs. The sole remaining car was restored and auctioned for $2.2 million in 2019, making it the most valuable Mustang ever built. Estimated to have cost $10,000 originally, approximately $93,876 when adjusted for inflation. The GT 500 Super Snake is a unique and highly coveted piece of automotive history. The allure of these classic muscle cars remains as strong as ever. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual admirer, the legacy of these iconic vehicles continues to inspire and excite. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with more exciting content on American history. Which classic muscle car you dream of riding, and what future videos you'd like to see on our channel. Thank you for being part of our community, and happy motoring.